Why are Americans banned from traveling to Cuba? My name is Christopher Russell. I held a top secret clearance. I have a law degree and I'm an independent researcher. In 1933, General Fulgencio Batista took control of the island of Cuba. He ruled that island from 1933 until 1958 in various degrees, and the details aren't terribly important. The point is, Fulgencio Batista was replaced by Fidel and Raul Castro. When the Castros took over the island in 1959, they began a communist government. A CIA agent by the name of E. Howard Hunt was actually sent to the island to kind of gauge the temperature and see whether the brothers were popular, see whether communism seemed popular on the island, and it was. This led to a whole bunch of things, including the Bay of Pigs disaster, something we don't have time to get into today, but is truly fascinating history. For a few weeks in 1962, there was a Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union had put troops and missiles on the island of Cuba, which is very close to Florida. This made Americans very nervous. This was the height of the Cold War, and no one really knew what would happen. Fortunately, JFK resolved the Cuban Missile Crisis without significant incident. But beginning that year, 1962, Americans were restricted from doing business with Cuba, with the point of every president since JFK holding on to this idea that if you destroy the Cuban economy, then the Cuban people will reject communism, and that means Americans win. Of course, there's a lot more to this, but the point is that since 1962, Americans have been restricted from doing business with the entire island of Cuba under the theory that if we make them poor enough, they will stop being communist. Obviously, that hasn't worked. Tragically, under U.S. law, the only way out of this is not only for there to be an interim democratically elected government, but also for that government to promise to restore the assets that were appropriated in 1959. So companies like ExxonMobil that lost oil on the nation of Cuba, on the island, are still waiting for billions of dollars in settlements for property that was expropriated, that was taken by the new communist government for the benefit of the people of Cuba. All these decades later, we are still watching as American corporations try to take profit from the nation of Cuba and put it in their shareholders' pockets.